flattering to know that you're sitting here speaking to people and giving them an idea. But really, this is what's necessary, because the thing is, it's, you know, the golf industry, as I was told when I was, and I know you're all different ages, but ideally you're beginning in this, so it's the same real experiential thing, is you can't make money, you're not going to be able to play golf, you know, it's tough to become a head pro or even recognized as a teacher. And one of my favorite, like, music artists is Jay-Z, okay? And part of the reason for that is obviously he came from Brooklyn, like, straight out of poverty, and he's an empire. So there's much to learn from Jay-Z, as much as there is to learn from Warren Buffett. And he says in one of his songs, and So Ambitious, if you're familiar with it, he says, he's talking about being in this neighborhood, and him telling everyone at 12 what he was going to do, and they're all like, man, are you crazy? Like, 1, you're from Brooklyn, 2, you're black, and 3, you're poor. And he goes, well, I guess I never, you know, and he says that I never thought of what I was going to be based off of what everybody isn't. Do you know what I mean? So, society, whether it's North American or whatever, industrial first world countries, I find society for the most part to be pretty mediocre. We still have, like, distinct poverty, even in countries with so much. So when you say things like, look, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, people are like, man, he's crazy. So about 5 years ago, before I had started with Stephen Ames, who was my first client on the PGA Tour, I did an interview with a guy back in Toronto who was kind of one of the main writers in Canadian golf. And I told him basically, look, I'm going to have, in the next 5 years or so, I'm going to have 5 players in the top 50 in the world, and one of them is probably going to be Tiger Woods. And this guy just lit me up, along with all the comments that came from people, like, this guy's a crack, what's wrong with him? Now, you don't necessarily have to externalize it, and I wasn't going around telling everyone. He'd ask me the question, so I answered it. So what's interesting now is that now I'm in the position where I look back at that article, and everything I said in that whole article that he ripped, every aspect of it, it's all come true. And that kind of takes me back to the idea again, is I wasn't going to base what I could be off what everybody is. So that being said, I didn't find the fuel to become accomplished to show people I could care less what anyone thinks about me. And that's you have to do that if you want to succeed, because you can't empower anybody to make you feel a certain way, whether that's good or bad. So if someone writes an article about me and says, this guy's fantastic, he's unbelievable, it does nothing for my confidence at all, because that person doesn't even know me probably. Okay? If they write, oh, you know, he copies Jim Hardy, he copies Stack and Tilt, David Ledbetter, apparently I've copied every single person. Okay? And that was never written. Any of that wasn't really written until I started helping Tiger, which I knew was going to bring in an onslaught of so many things, as it will, right? But like I said, look, if you don't care what people think about you in the first place, then it doesn't really matter. So when people say, well, how are you going to handle all the speculation and all this and all that? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter, because I won't read any of it anyways. I know what I've been through. I know what I've tried to accomplish. And the first thing I've always tried to accomplish is to do it through virtue and principle and character. Okay, so, you know, if I had to sit here right now and give you guys, and give people credit, all the people I've learned from, we wouldn't be able to have you ask a single question, because the list is about 20,000 people. You know what I mean? So, you know, that being said, it's like, it doesn't really matter what people's opinion are of you, because until someone sits down and spends a day with me watching me teach, and then comes home and watch me have dinner with my wife and my son, only then will I allow them to write really a story that I pay attention to. You know? So those things, whatever you hear, 99% of it, whether good or bad, is generally complete bullshit. All right? And especially in today's society with threads and the blogosphere and Twitter. I mean, look, if you have a Twitter account, it gives you the opportunity to be a journalist. You know, I'm happy that medical doctors have a much more strenuous set of things they have to do to accomplish being medical doctors than what we have to do to be journalists. So I started out, look, in golfing when I was like 10 years of age. Was never a real big team player, so team sports weren't really that interesting to me. Even the sports I played, team sports, I was still in the individual positions, like I played goaltender in hockey and in soccer. I kind of liked it on me, you know. I didn't like depending on other people to make the plays or do all that. So I got into golf. My dad took me to the range. I hit 1 3-wood that first day, and that was it. I mean, I didn't see all this happen, but I definitely knew that I was going to be doing something with golf for sure. I think I flushed it right around 48 yards or something. You know, it felt unbelievable. So that's where it started. And then I was always always been interested in reading. I don't know how else I can really learn that much because there's really not a lot of people you have time in the day to listen to. So reading someone's book is like listening to them anyways.